Years ago, it used to be if you lose the sale, you lose the neighbor. Now, if you lose the sale, you lose the neighborhood.
Every call I go on, I am running the risk of losing the neighborhood. Wow.
People buy from people they like. If they like you, they trust you. If they trust you, they'll open up to you.
When you're in the home, are you spending a ton of time on the rapport building?
Yesterday, I was in a customer's house and we hit it off great right there in the foyer. And it was 20 minutes and we were talking and guys, I got to get to work and I know y'all are trying to get this fixed. You have to make sure you're not overbearing, but it's just that, okay, this guy, he's going to solve our problem. We've got the right guy. We've got the right company. We've got the right solution. Let's get it done.
Like, what are some of the success habits that you do mentally to keep yourself at the top of your game?
So a lot of that is realizing, back to your point earlier, not developing that me mindset, that I'm not just doing this for myself. I'm doing this for my wife, my two babies. I'm doing this for this massive team of amazing people behind the scenes that allow us to get to where we are when we're walking across that stage in Nashville and in Las Vegas, and realizing that I owe it to them to make sure I am giving every call my all, because if I don't, the saying of, and years ago, it used to be, if you lose the sale, you lose the neighbor. Now, if you lose the sale, you lose the neighborhood. I mean, you lose everything because of these gadgets right here. And again, just with regards to how everyone's 8 seconds away from making that Facebook post or that LinkedIn post or that Reddit post, and just keeping myself grounded that I owe it to them because they've done so much for me.
It probably speaks to why your closing ratio is so high. Because it's so high. It from what I saw, it's in the upper 60s continuously. Even reaching 70% at times. Did I see that correct?
Yes, sir.
And that makes sense. If you're the magnitude and the gravity that you're putting each of those calls, it sounds to me like every call I go on, I am running the risk of losing the neighborhood. Wow. That's powerful. And if, wow, that's powerful.
Well,
I mean,
to carry. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. And gosh, if we could have all of our salespeople that looked at the magnitude like that, wow. And that is just something you developed from another salesperson? Did you get that feedback from, like, where'd you get that?
Just over time, kind of the realization, and then also in just talking with, senior specialists on our team, senior specialists throughout the nation. And it's just the foundation is very similar and the principles are very similar. Mm-hmm. And then it's just all about tweaking it to make it your own, so that it goes back to being genuine. When I'm in a customer's house, I'm talking to them like I'm talking to my wife. I'm talking to them like I'm talking to my buddies, and them seeing that also aids in them opening up. And that's a big part right there that we'll probably talk about here shortly, or we can go ahead and dive in now. But it's all about, you make a friend. People buy from people they like. Mm-hmm. And if they like you, they trust you. If they trust you, they'll open up to you. And that will just help uncover all these objections that they may have had lingering in the back of their head. And it just brings it to the limelight, and you put it all to rest. Instead of, man, why couldn't I close that one? And then, oh no, you've closed that door before they even had a chance to escape out of it.
Yes. Yeah. So I love that. Let's talk a little bit about the process in the home, and what are some of the questions, techniques that you use to build that rapport specifically?
Right. And a lot of being in the home goes back to before you even get to the home.
Okay, let's start there. Yeah, take us down that.
Right. That prepare step, which is just so critical. And most wrench group organizations, they've had Next Start training. So you understand you've got the physical aspect and you've got the mental aspect. And from that mental aspect, attitude is everything. And that's one thing that law enforcement really helped me, is being able to just flip the switch. You can have, with it being sales, we all know it is psychological warfare at times. And the highs are high and the lows are low. And it's just navigating through those peaks and valleys of law enforcement that helped me transition to learning from my last call, but leaving my last call at my last call. And I hope that makes sense. That way you're not dragging that baggage into the next call and then dragging that baggage home that night. So from just a mental standpoint of the attitude's everything. With the physical standpoint, look the part. So much of law enforcement is just not walking up to somebody looking like a soup sandwich, because they can sniff that on you. They can smell it on you. They can smell if you're not being sincere. They can smell if you're not being genuine. They can smell if you don't have their best interests at heart. And that was just another aspect of that career that transitioned into this career as well.
Yes.
That, I mean, and don't get me wrong. Yes, I'm looking like I'm in my church clothes right now, but there are plenty of times that I go into a customer's house and yeah, it's a little dusted up. We might be looking like a bit of an Oompa Loompa, because customers also wanting to see that you're working. You're not that smooth talking salesman with these one-liner zingers just coming in, throwing at them. It's just, you're there to solve their problem. And that's what so many people appreciate is, okay, this guy, again, it goes back to, he's looking after my best interest instead of his own. So preparation is key, in addition to just psychologically preparing for the call, relying on your teammates to make sure they're doing their job, to make sure that, and that really goes back to accountability, is, holding myself accountable, that I'm going to do the job to the best of my ability, holding my fellow teammates accountable, that they're going to do the jobs to the best of their ability and their jobs to the best of their ability, where researching the house, home ownership, how long has that customer been in the home? How many names do we have on the deed? I had a customer last week that we had 3 names on the deed, and I could tell just by the way the names were, okay, we've got a young girl, young lady, probably a first-time homeowner, and then we've got 2 more names on this deed that's probably mom and dad. So do we need to get them involved in the situation? It's really just having all of that lined up as much as you can, so that you know which avenue and route you need to go while tackling that call.
That's great. That's great. So when you're in the home, how much of your process is relationship building versus, say, the technical makeup of getting out of the house, going up in the attic, whatever it is that you need to do? Give me a sense of what that is. Do you have a step-by-step process that you follow?
And it's interesting, and you'll be able to relate to this, and you can attest to it as well, Kevin. The only step-by-step process is there is no step-by-step process. And it's so fluid on these calls that you might go in thinking I'm going to hit this, and then you actually show up on scene, you show up on that call, you show up on that lead, or even on that diagnostic, and, oh, wait, we've got to adapt and overcome. We've got to pivot. Oh, gosh. Oh, now the neighbor's walking over and he's beating on the door. Now we've got to get him in on the conversation. So it's just little things like that, I'll get questions of, what's the answer? And the answer is being genuine, but the other answer is, there is no answer. The one size fits all answer is that there is no answer. Like you just, because you're constantly adapting based on how you're gauging and reading that customer. You know, for instance, with the greet step, I mean, and the greet step, heck, that begins before I even get involved. That's with, okay, what was their response to our technician? How well of a job did they do? How enthusiastic, without being overbearing, was our customer service rep on the phone? So that just kind of ties back into that teamwork. But with the greet from my end, it's going to last as long or as little as it needs to. Mm-hmm. There's no set specific, oh, I've got to hit boom, boom, boom. I mean, you're just ever changing and ever adapting through the comment. There's a Bruce Lee quote, be like water. And that's what we do every day. Mm-hmm. We just flow and adapt to obstacles we may see in our path or things that might be thrown at us out of left field. Mm-hmm. So that's a big thing as well. I mean, yesterday I was in a customer's house and we hit it off great right there in the foyer, and it was 20 minutes and we were talking, and guys, my goodness, it's been 30 minutes. We are busy as the dickens right now. As much as I'd love to sit back and share some Arnold Palmers with you, I got to get to work, and I know y'all are trying to get this fixed. So then it's, oh yeah, do your thing. And like, it's just, and that just goes back to me. I just enjoy hearing people's, like even Kevin hearing you and Carolyn's story and hearing Amanda share her story on the pod. Like, it's just, I enjoy hearing that, and that transfers, which I think that just helps in, wow, like this guy actually cares for me and my family, not just himself. And that's huge, is just sales being that transfer of enthusiasm where you have to make sure you're not overbearing with it, because you don't want to be jumping around like a Jack Russell Terrier in their house. Mm-hmm. But it's just that, okay, this guy, he's going to solve our problem. We've got the right guy. We've got the right company. We've got the right solution. Let's get it done.
So are you spending a ton of time on the rapport building?
Linking rapport with objections. Rapport helps you close those doors, meaning the objections, before that customer can run out of them. Mm-hmm. Where it was something where before it was, if they don't trust you, they're not going to tell you. So if it was, I don't know about this guy, I'm a little shaky. He seems like he's trying to, sell me a bridge up north, then they're just going to, okay, let me chat with my spouse, and we'll never call you guys again. I mean, that's the response you're getting when they say that. That's going to be the outcome. So going back to the rapport building, it turns into, but like I've heard Morris Jenkins is expensive compared to everyone else. And then you can just follow up with, Kevin, I understand what you're saying, and I get it. Yeah, we're not the cheapest in town, but why do you think Morris Jenkins is the most popular?
Mm. So you're in the home, you do the greet step. Typically, what's next?
So after the greet, then getting into the explore, walking through the house. The interesting thing about the way I do things, and I'm not saying like this, it's me, only me, but just one thing that I've really made an effort to do is,
we want to know what the $8.2 million guy is doing, just so you know. so that's just all we want to know.
you want to ask questions while you're working. And I learned this from Alan, our chief sales officer, our sales guru, is that you're not pulling out the interrogation lamp and grilling them in their foyer. It's you're asking questions while they are watching you work. Mm. And it's, like I'm walking over and measuring the returns, making sure that we don't have any airflow issues or any imbalances, taking a look at the filters, and you see those carbon filters that are putting the system into a chokehold, essentially. And, Kevin, who in the house has allergies or breathing problems? And then you're going up and you're climbing, you're taking a look at the carbon monoxide detectors, and, God, guys, what are y'all's plans for this place? It's such a great neighborhood. We love coming in here. And as long as you're working, they're just going to give you all sorts of juicy nuggets of knowledge. it's different when you're just sitting there and grilling them and it's okay. What is this guy trying? What is his ulterior motive? And again, when you're working and they're watching you work, it's just a natural conversation. I had a customer who yesterday was up in the attic with me and we were both beating and dropping sweat from our forehead like we had just gotten out of the swimming pool because it was a nice balmy 135 degrees up there, and just invited him up in the attic and had a conversation. We're talking about and all of a sudden he's just starting to talk about what he wants to talk about. And I'm going along with it because it's better to be interested than interesting. And then at the end, it just turns into, man, I was planning on shopping around and shopping you guys because I've heard y'all expensive. I'm ready to rock and roll and get this done. So let's go ahead and go with this option. So that it just goes back to that rapport and that explore step and asking those questions while you're working. That is huge.